should probably not be chewing the straps when we start. It's up to you, I don't really mind.
Well,
I might need to pop in another one, like, depending on how long this is.
I should just go. Unless you want me to. You do know this is how I'm going to intro the episode.
Fine with me. If it's coming up, if it's got some ASMR.
Welcome to Plot to Go. We are now turning into an ASMR podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, by popular demand.
Our comments have been filled with comments. We need ASMR, Owen. That's what they've all been shouting.
Pass. Maybe that's what I'll turn the TikTok into.
It's just you chewing.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
What's wrong with
follow our socials for more of Owen chewing. Welcome back to episode number 7. Can't believe it's number 7.
Yeah.
I simultaneously like that we started this the first week of the year, because like it's just matching up with the weeks, but I also don't, because I'm like, how are we 7 weeks into the year?
I hadn't been thinking about that, if I'm being honest.
Really?
I just had like some pride in the fact that we got past like 6 episodes. Because it's been like twice that this podcast has come up and I've been like, yeah, we've done 6 episodes now.
And people are like shocked at that, I guess.
I'm shocked at that.
Yeah. 6 more to go and then
And then that's it.
I think we're calling it
Lucky number 12. Yeah, you don't want to hit 13, that's where things go to shit, it's a fan.
That's Taylor Swift's lucky number.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
13?
Yeah.
Gosh,
It's like
that's very pick me. That's...
Is it pick me if she did it like decades ago?
Was it decades ago or was it a decade ago?
Well, no, she's been making music for decades now,
yeah,
I guess.
true, but that feels like new Taylor Swift.
No, I'm sure, I don't know if the Swifties are gonna not like this.
Yeah.
I swear there's like, her first album, no, her first album's not Fearless. Her first album's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
There's something about 13 in Fearless.
I know, let's get it out now, and then we'll just, for the next 30 minutes, we'll go through every single one. Just figure out which
We've turned into an ASMR Taylor Swift podcast. Welcome. No, of course not. We're talking about movies, Owen.
None of which I've seen. It's been a horrendous week.
Yeah, Owen got real busy and couldn't make any movie.
Yeah. I was ill on Monday when you saw September 5, and when I was going to go see it myself yesterday, I got held up at work, so I've not had a chance.
Yeah, so our main movie that I'm only going to speak about is September 5. And I also managed to catch Dogman and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Yay, some reviews coming for them. You're going to speak a little bit about
Just kind of
some
watch
stuff that you've been watching.
And we've both seen the Spider-Man show that's on Disney+.
Yeah, we both have enjoyed it that much, so I think we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's only on for 4 weeks because of the way they're dropping it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then maybe we'll talk about some trailers, because
Yeah.
I don't understand why they've dropped before the Super Bowl. Like,
But
I
they
thought-
must be saving like some big stuff for the Super Bowl then, surely.
So Fantastic Four and Jurassic World Rebirth, good God, they both dropped. But like, I don't foresee Marvel having anything else at the Super Bowl.
Can you imagine they'll do an Avengers teaser?
No, they won't. An Avengers.
Is it not next year?
It is, but I
'Cause
doubt
they did
they've
one
shot
for-
anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like just
Ultron,
an
they
A?
did like the helmet or
Uh,
something. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something.
really? This early?
Batman v Superman had like a plane act with Bruce Wayne in it. Like I feel like you could do anything
Huh.
you want. Maybe that's an out there prediction. I don't know. It's supposed to be next year the film comes out. Yeah.
Supposed to. There's no way they're sticking to that.
If they don't, they're only going to shift it by like a year, surely.
Yeah, and then I imagine they're back to back, but I just don't imagine them having any. I mean, maybe like another Fantastic Four, which seems too quick.
Yeah, I really don't want that. But that film does come out when July.
July.
Which, I mean, they didn't leave much time. Normally trailers come out like way before.
Yeah, I kind of like this closer to the project.
Me too.
thing.
Hopefully they don't release a million trailers to keep everyone engaged and then just spoil the
Yes.
film.
They will, because that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Anyway, we'll get to trailers.
Soon.
further down the line, yeah.
Well, we start with it.
Do you want to just start with the trailers now? I think that's fine with me. Fantastic Four, go.
Good God. I really liked it. I like the retrofuturism vibes. Something we both studied, actually. Do you remember that?
Did we study that in the contemporary?
Retrofuturism.
I don't remember that.
Well, better whap out them books, boy.
And, do you think I took notes for that class?
Shocking.
In reference to what? Like, what film are we talking about?
I think we were talking about the concept of retrofuture. I can't remember the
we just
film.
briefly kind of skipped over.
There would have been a film attached to it.
10 films.
Yeah, I don't know what one. Because it was towards the end, but it wouldn't have been like Into the Spider-Verse.
No, definitely wouldn't have been.
And we didn't do anything like Star Wars or... Anyway, the retrofuturism was really interesting.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Loved the look of it and the feel. It felt new. I hate when people like this. This feels like the first Marvel project to really have a voice behind it.
Yeah, because I don't know if I agree with that, but it does feel like at least fresh. It's the new way of saying new. A breath of fresh air.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Synonym for new.
Synonym for new.
But it does. Like, it feels like there's a degree of care put into it that everything I see about Captain America makes me feel like there isn't. Do you know?
Yeah, we've got less than a week to find out if that film is a shit show or not.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, what I do agree with from the trailer is that it does seem like they're a cohesive unit already. They are like a family.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that we're going straight into a Fantastic Four film and we don't have to do the origin story for the third time in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is shocking. I don't know if you realise it's like every 10 years Fantastic Four gets rebooted or whatever. Hopefully this group right here will stay for a little bit longer. I do think it's not totally fresh. I said to you that I laughed at the trailer when there was like fire in the sky because I was like, there's a new world-ending event in the sky that everyone's looking up to. Like, it is very much the superhero film with group reskinned. Mm. But I do like the reskin. Like, I do think the retrofuturism is very cool.
Well, Guardians felt like a reskin to like what we'd had previously, but the reskin was like comedy and quirky, which now is not refreshing and new.
I felt like Guardians was really out there, like because we had Avengers, which was a team up movie based on other movies. Mm-hmm. Guardians was fresh because it was, or like brand new because it was a group of people for the first time together.
I mean, less the characters and like the tone and style. Like, you could still equate that to team up movie world ending event.
Yeah, I suppose we didn't know what the event was going to be going in. I don't know what the trailer is for Guardians, to be honest.
So, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I just felt like it was very like. I mean, I remember watching Fat Four Stick from 2015. Mm-hmm. Probably in the trailers too is like the hole in the sky with like the stuff going up or through it or whatever, and I was like, oh, we're doing the hole in the sky thing.
Yeah. So
yeah, there are like tropes, and
I do feel like they need to with this because I told you I think the plot of this is that they go over to our MCU, which is 616. No, it's 19999.
Yeah, it's people at Marvel Studios like Kevin Feige are determined to make it 616, but recognized by the rest of everyone in Marvel. I think it's like Earth 199999 or something. It's like Miguel O'Hara says it in.
Oh yeah, because he goes 99.
Yeah.
And I think they have to do some sort of world ending of it. I honestly think it's gonna end sad, and I think that's cool because it'll be the second movie in like 60 movies to end where they like failed.
60 movies, 60 projects.
Like, well, yeah. Well, no, Deadpool's the 50th movie.
Jesus, I think
or 50th project
because you're you always update your letterbox list, and I think it was like it's that long now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Something about the stuff.
World End event, getting
an event, 616, tripping over, bad ending to the film. Oh, do you think Doomsday? Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Doomsday is DC. Doctor Doom is going to be in this film.
No, I hesitate to even say he'll be a post-credit. I actually think he needs to be a post-credit because they're now abandoning Kang, which, update, I saw a news story which was like, they're considering bringing Jonathan Majors back.
Oh.
I have no idea why. Loki kind of ended his story perfectly and you had an out. But who knows what they're doing. But I think if they are trying to set him up, you kind of need to feature him at some point.
The thing is, I actually don't know if you do, but it's weird that he's like a Fantastic Four villain that's going to get used.
Yeah.
Although it would be an interesting start to his character if they were going to bring him back to have them meet him in the Avengers film. But he couldn't just be played by Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah,
going forward.
Oh, so maybe they don't make it across. Or they do, and then like Doom is also in that world and he finds it and...
Two Dooms. Two actors.
No, and they're both RDJ.
No, one's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, cool.
He just cares about Scientology. That's all Doctor Doom does in that universe, is he tries to be
alone.
Scientology on people.
Good God. What did you think of the casting, the little bits that we saw? Did you have opinions as well prior to the trailer of the casting?
Not really. I was just interested to see how they all were. I never hooked onto the fact that it's Ben Grimm, I can't remember the actor's name.
Eben Moss-Baccarat?
Yeah, his voice isn't gravelly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a dude's voice. Didn't bother me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think people have been a bit confused by that.
I'm not sure why.
And then I was listening to Bernie Burns' podcast.
Lovely.
And he was talking about he wasn't happy about it particularly, but someone had made a comment somewhere about like Marvel are actually doing something different. Like there's nothing to say that a big rock monster has to have a gravelly voice.
Yeah.
So
like Korg.
Yeah. I don't know. From the trailer, I'm not made up on them. To be honest, like it's either way, in the sense that like I'm not like, oh, these guys are going to be terrible. I just don't feel like we've seen much of them. Does Johnny speak in the trailer?
Yeah, he goes, hi.
Is that it?
That's the only thing I remember.
I remember him with like the Last of Us 2 helmet on.
Yes.
And then also like him like in space doing like stuff.
Great
first
shot.
flight.
I immediately was like, oh, Superbad?
This is the new Superman.
Well, it's releasing like within a week.
Of each other?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Competition.
I'm sold on Vanessa Kirby. Vanessa Kirby's a great actress as is, but I don't know. She just, the trailer centers around her and like the voiceover is her, and I was just sold on her as Invisible Woman. I don't know. Her powers looked really cool.
Her powers did look very cool, like the bending of light.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all of them. The Johnny Storm having like burning the film on screen and like creating like grain and dirt. I think it was super cool.
You notice they didn't.
I was just about to say this.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic's powers don't get shown.
Do you think that was purposeful?
Yeah. I wonder if they're saving it for a reveal, like he just kind of doesn't use it through the film because he's big brain, and then for some reason he uses it at the end or when they need it, or if it's literally because like stretchiness looks goofy, and maybe they're hiding it so that when people see the film, they're not put off by goofy, stretchy in the trailer, so they'll go see the film.
I also think that it would be the talking point of the trailer, and you don't want that initially.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Let the talking point be the giant rock man, you know?
Yeah, they showed so much of the thing in the trailer. I think they were just kind of like, look at our design for the thing, which I think is pretty cool. I think going back to like the 60s design for the thing is pretty cool.
I have so much faith in the project just being directed by Matt Shackman, who did WandaVision. Oh. So I'm like, you've done a period piece, and I think the period pieces were the better aspects of that show. So it'd be interesting to see what you do with another group of people in a different time period. We'll see. Another thing that is competing with both Superman and Fantastic Four is Jurassic World Rebirth. Which one do you think's not going to make money?
Superman's going to be...
Honestly, maybe.
I actually think
Jurassic World makes money.
Yeah, it's scary, especially after... I mean, I like the first Jurassic World, and that was like 10 years ago. The second one I remember being like, oh, that was dog shit. So I haven't seen the third one. I was talking to other people about Jurassic World after I told you about it as well.
Really?
Nobody's seen the third one.
Huh.
It's just like one of those things that came out and nobody went to see it.
Because I also haven't. I've seen the first two and I
Yeah.
didn't see the last.
There's nothing interesting. Like the two previous ones were bad, and then the trailer for the third one, you're just like, oh, this is just like nostalgia bait because he brought back the 3 original actors or whatever. The fact that they're still going with Jurassic World is interesting.
I thought that as well. Because then it feels like a fourth movie instead of like...
Yeah.
I know Rebirth is, implying...
Yeah, just make it... Like make a new... Are they making a new trilogy? I thought that was what...
I think that's what's going to happen, yeah.
So like, just give it a new name.
Because why would you end... Because they built up the Jurassic World Dominion?
Yeah.
Is that it?
So what, previous to that film, they released all of the creatures...
No, like, they built that up as... This is like the epic conclusion to the Jurassic saga.
Yeah.
And then you tack on, like, I don't get... That's like if you go Star Wars Episode 10 and they call it Episode 10. Then the whole thing of, like, the epic conclusion to the Skywalker saga is false. Like...
Yeah, I guess. They did do it with Toy Story and you were a fan of that, so...
Okay. That is because Toy Story 4 is a good movie.
But this could be a good movie.
Yeah, do you think that by the trailer?
Yeah, the trailer looked great.
I thought it looked good.
Like visually.
Yeah, but that is Gareth
Yeah,
Edwards.
it's gonna be boring as hell.
I didn't find anything interesting at all.
There was a comment that was like, this gives me Kong Skull Island vibes.
Sure, something like that, like generic action.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt, I will go see it. But and this is so shallow, but it's only for Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey. If it wasn't them, I don't think I'd see it.
I think I'm in the same boat. Scarlett Johansson in that trailer like just seemed really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like she's just like in that role.
And then Jonathan Bailey's played like a little
like nerd.
nerdy. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm
This
sold.
whole spec.
Yeah.
He sounds like Milo from Atlantis. Don't know it. Have you seen Atlantis?
Like, there's a vague recollection of that.
Yeah. He's giving that. Right?
Yeah. What cool.
Yeah.
I like Mahershala Ali's in the trailer as well, but he struck me as like generic action. I'm gonna protect you guy.
Generic pirate guy to get us to island.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him. The trailer was set up like what the film is.
Probably.
Maybe not the end and stuff, but they revealed like some of the scarier creatures in the trailer as well. Like a shot where I think it's like darkness and then like red light or whatever, and there's this creature in the background. It looks really good and spooky.
Yeah.
And
I like the concept as well. Like, these are experiments that went wrong.
Yeah, or it's not even experiments, right? It's just like they made all the dinosaurs and then they just had dinosaurs that were like too bad for the original park.
Oh, really?
Right? Like maybe I've got this wrong, but I thought that was the concept. So it's literally just like not overly done dinosaurs like what we saw in the Jurassic World trilogy, but just like normal dinosaurs. They're all spliced anyway. They said that in Jurassic World, but
I thought it was like experiments that went bad. So it was like in trying to make a T-Rex, they made this thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe it is that. Not the vibe I got from the voiceover in the trailer, but
I don't know if I was really paying attention to the voiceover though. I do want to bring up because said about Mahershala Ali being like generic. This is not to say that Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey aren't also playing generic stereotypes based on the trailer.
Yeah.
However, I'm more intrigued by their generic stereotypes.
Agreed.
Give me girl boss and nerd, my favorite pairing.
Yeah, I think at the time, like the first one came out, I was like kind of a fan of Chris Pratt because of like Guardians films. But as they went on, Chris Pratt just became this person that was in everything. That was just like a generic
everything as well.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, I don't want to see this anymore.
You're so right. It's like generic action man, and at least here there's like something different. There's a woman and a nerd. I'll always take a nerd in a movie.
Yeah. Represent.
Yeah. Thanks, Jonathan Bailey. When I look at us, I think Jonathan Bailey.
Me too.
Do you have anything more to say about Jurassic World?
No, it's so funny how I feel like we just went on and on about Fantastic Four and we got to Jurassic World and we're both like,
yeah. Not excited.
Yeah.
Actually, not at all, because I know it means I'm going to have to watch Dominion. It doesn't mean I have to.
No, that could be
I will.
fun. We can watch that together. That'll be enjoyable.
Aww. As we sit trying to like gouge our eyes out.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Should we talk about some movies? Or should
you
talk
can
about
some
movies? Good God. What should I start? What do you want me to start with? Dealer's choice.
I think you start with September 5.
The one I built up to be like our big old movie for the week.
Yeah.
Yoki dokie. September 5. If you do not know what this movie is, it takes place around the 1972 Munich Olympic Games. Something I was not aware happened during those Olympic Games was that 10 Israeli athletes were taken hostage by a Palestinian terrorist group called Black September. And this movie follows the news broadcast team sports broadcast, they're not even news, that end up following this situation and reporting on it. I don't want to start super negative with this, so I'll tiptoe around that and I'll start positive. It's a fine procedural journalism film. It's entertaining enough. It's 90 minutes, so it's quite short. It's you're in and you're out.
That's a positive.
Yeah, it's edited in a way that's snappy enough that you're like, ooh, what's going on here? You're always entertained. They do this really interesting thing of using archival footage, blended with this real world footage. So something I learned, which I did kind of think watching the movie, is the majority of the movie, I'd say 90%, you are in the ABC studio with these people who are reporting on sports that suddenly have to, report on this news. I wish I knew their names. They're all kind of older actors and I get some of them confused, but I think Peter Skarsgård essentially is this boss.
Another one.
The daddy of the Skarsgårds.
Is the dad not the one from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Stellan?
Yeah.
Is it? Is Peter Stellan's son?
I would assume he looks younger.
Oh wait, maybe he's not.
But then
Danny Skarsgård.
Anyway, maybe we'll go through the Skarsgårds at some point. We'll do a Skarsgård trivia.
1971. Oh, maybe he's not. Oops. I don't think he is. He looks older in this movie.
He also, I think his name's spelled differently.
It is. So I don't think.
Skarsgård. There you go.
I really thought he was part of the Skarsgårds.
Never mind. He's
not a Skarsgård. He's a Sarsgaard.
I wonder how many there are.
With just one letter difference. He basically oversees the ABC studios and he is going away. He's like, I need a day off. And he leaves it in charge with John Magaro, who is in Past Lives. He's the American husband in Past Lives.
Oh, I remember him.
He's lovely in that. He's great in this. A really, really compelling actor. And I left this being like, I really want to see you in more stuff. The acting across the board in this is actually very good. He's just a standout. He leaves him in charge of the ABC studio. It's kind of like, for narrative purposes, I think, it's like his first day doing this. And then the terrorist attack happens and they have to be like, oh, it happens in the building across from them, so they should go film it. They have a responsibility, and back home in the US, they're like, our news team are going to report this. They're like, well, we're here. So they end up doing that. The really cool thing about the movie is you get this sense of analog media that I think is just lost on us now. So there's a point where they are trying to set up shots they're taken hostage, so they're in place in the Israeli athlete camp or whatever. So they have to get different angles and they are dragging these massive cameras outside, cables and cables of stuff. to get film to these cameras, there's a guy that has to pose as an athlete and tape reels to his stomach and then get through security because they've locked it down because it's a hostage situation, posing as an athlete to give them reels.
Yeah.
And this goes like back and forth like a lot. Like the effort that was put in to make a broadcast like this is nuts. And obviously there'd be some sort of similar vibe now if you were in a TV studio, like the franticness. But the level of effort I think is just so unmatched to what it was back then. Yeah, a solid thriller. But I just think if you give this like a level of thought and critical thinking, it kind of just falls apart a little. This is my opinion. I've seen varied opinions on the film. Also, just while we're at it, my issues come down to screenplay stuff. This has a nomination for screenplay, which I just think is baffling. But there's a line at the start of the movie that Peter Sarsgaard, Sarsgaard, whoops, says where he goes, "It's not about politics, it's about emotion." One of them cheesy lines that you loved from the trailers.
Yeah, so like the trailer, this is one of the few instances where I saw the trailer before you did.
Yeah.
So I think the trailer started and you were like, "I've not seen the trailer to this." And I was like, "Is it our story or is it theirs?" Because I was just like, I think that stuck out in the trailer to me.
There was then a line halfway through that was similar to that, and I was like, oh, did Owen just like ham this up for like comedic effect? And then the trailer ends on that stinger, and I was like, oh, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
I think that statement though at the start of the movie is trying to be this like overall thesis for the movie, where it's like, you know, we're reporting on the news. We abstract ourselves from politics, and it is about conveying an emotional story to an audience. That in itself, I think, is really interesting as an idea to explore because it's inherently false, in my opinion. I don't think you can have objective news because news and journalism is an art form, and I think all art forms are subjective. So anybody reporting on the news, I just don't think you can come from it from an objective angle.
I think all news is subjective. I just think there are some that are like more objective than others. I think you can get very deep into this subjectivity with the language that gets used.
In the same way all art could be though. There could be a dog shit movie that is like renownedly dog shit.
But that has nothing to do with objectivity and subjectivity, right?
But it does.
Are you going to say like...
Because your opinion of the movie being like, oh, I thought that was good or I thought that was bad.
That's pure art though. News is fact dressed up
Is it fact though?
Because it's events that have happened. That is truth. Dressed up with how people interpret the events. That's what news is. Whereas film and TV and things or paintings are like purely art.
Like journalism is writing and
about stuff that happened.
Yeah, but through like an objective lens.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's subjective, but there's a root of objectivity, and it's the choice of the journalist or the news station or whatever to guide you as far away from that as they want. Yeah,
but that's... Yes.
Yeah.
So inherently, I don't think you can say that
no
you can
news is objective.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. But there's different levels.
Yeah, but there's that with every art form. That's kind of what I'm saying.
But there's no level of... The point I'm making is in every art form, other than news, there's no level of objectivity because like, art is purely subjective.
Documentary filmmaking or like there's other things where like you are telling a true story.
Okay, that's a good point.
Do you know like it's kind of like one of these things where are you lying if you're omitting something? Are you lying by omission? Like
that was my point with the news is like
you can, but that's it. You're crafting a narrative.
Yeah. In
a way that you might want to frame as objective, but I don't know if that is objective.
Mm-hmm. The news, baby.
Fun. I wrote a review. If I'm taking that statement, I like to like break it into two parts. So if you're, it's not about politics, it's about emotion. So it's about emotion. I didn't feel an emotional attachment to this story. Not in the events that are happening, because that's scary, but you're abstracted from that. You are following the news team that are reporting on this. And I just feel like there was a degree of, there was a level of like little emotions from these reporters that felt weird. It felt like they were unfazed by a terrorist attack happening 2 feet away from them.
I got that from the trailer, when they were invested about telling the story as opposed to like the people that were abducted.
The one person that's not is, and I'll bring up this actress's name. Her name is Leonie Benesch. She's a German actress. So she plays a German in the movie. This takes place in Germany, of course, Munich. And she's working for ABC. And there's this scene early on where it's, I think, Peter Sarsgaard again, and her talking, and he's like, she's talking about how this is such a big deal for Munich to be like, look at us, we have changed. And it's, I mean, that was the whole point of the Munich Olympics, was to be, show the world with all this new TV equipment and stuff as well, that Germany is a safe place and a welcoming place for all these people. And he brings up something like, well, your parents were alive during everything that happened. So like, kind of implying that has their opinions trickled down to you, or like, were they just bystanders, or like, all this stuff. And she's like, well, I'm not my parents. Like, and that, it's interesting. There's a slight like interest in, there's an American perspective that's hostile towards her as a German. I'm unsure if Peter Skarsgård.
No, SARS.
Sarsgaard is, I can't remember if he's Jewish or not. There is a reporter that's Jewish. But there's clearly a conflict of like being Jewish and working in Germany and the German opinion, and has that really changed? Very interesting stuff. That's shut down. They kind of like make up in that scene, and she's like, well, I'm not my parents. And he's like, oh, sorry, that's my bad. Interesting as well that they make up that quickly. However, she has this really interesting perspective, because as a German, an act of violence has then been committed on her land, where it was also supposed to be this time where, you know, they were celebrating a period of non-violence and like turning a new chapter in German history. But they don't focus on her. Like, she's an ancillary character. You get bits and bobs of her, which I would say are the most compelling. But you never like dig into her and how she's feeling about reporting on this. Instead, you are following John Magaro, who's like leading the news station, and it is more focused on like how they're telling this story. And that stuff is kind of devoid of emotion. Whereas her, like, you have like a glimmer of emotion, and it's just not, it's not expanded upon. And then I just don't feel like you feel a weight with the other characters that you maybe would had you focused on her.
So it's just news people being news people for 90 minutes.
Kind of, yeah. I just, it's bizarre. I wrote something down here, which I'm like, I agree with this. Yes, my words. It's very tell don't show, where they're like, yeah, this is a very heavy situation. Get blah blah on the line and you can't just say something like that. You actually have to make me feel like there is this burden that's like weighing on them. And at the end of this movie, the credits hit, and they do that classic thing of, in 1972, Munich,
This is the pictures with the words again.
Yeah, all this, there was just words this time.
Oh, that's awful.
At the very end, it goes, over 800 million people watched this. That's when I went, you're kidding.
It
like,
is crazy. 800
million people. I didn't feel that burden of that weight that any of those reporters carried. Not to spoil, the film ends, it's really weird. The film has a closing shot that I thought was powerful, and then it does one more shot, and I was like, huh. And then this thing happens at the end with the 800 million, and it recontextualizes that last scene or that last shot where you are supposed to feel this burden that the reporters have carried, and I there's just a disconnect for me that I'm like, surely there's some sort of scene that you could have, even if you want to be explicit in it, like 800 million people are watching this, and there's a level of responsibility. I feel there's a point in the story where they fuck up, they actually report something wrong, and you do see some sort of burden, but again, it's just never expanded upon, or like it doesn't come across through the screen.
It's just like a weightless film.
Yeah. Interestingly, this brings me back to a point that I forgot to bring up. The archival footage.
Yeah.
The guy who is the reporter, so like you're in the TV studio, there's a guy in the actual studio. You're in the control room.
And there's someone in the
studio who's like reporting. That guy is not an actor. That's actually the man who reported on the news.
Well, they just hired the same guy.
No, it's all archival footage. So this is what I'm saying. I thought that when I was in the movie, but I learned after it fully is just him. So it's super interesting because he's like getting communicated stuff, and he's like interviewing somebody else, and he's having to listen to completely different news that's being fed to him, and then deliver it in like a poetic, like eloquent way when he's just been fed it like in this most like brash way possible. That was really fascinating to me. Just from like as I said, like analog, like what news was back then. So that's like the emotional side of stuff. The political side of stuff, yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Actually, before I get onto that, can I just read what I wrote out here?
Yeah, go for it.
So one of the problems that they face is that CBS, they all share like a satellite, and at 3:00 they've managed to get a satellite slot up until 3. They're like, this will be done with at 3. It hits 3, it's not done with, it's still going on. They're like, CBS is gonna take it. And they end up negotiating with them. They were like, unless we can share your feed, like CBS gets the rights to what ABC are airing, we're not going to air it at all. So they're like, oh fuck, like we'll share it. They come up with this ingenious thing. It's so cool to see little bits like this. They're like, what do we do? Someone's like, what if we put an overlay on it that says ABC? So like, see when you see on channels now, the little like overlay of the channel name?
Yeah.
I don't know for certain, but this film implies that they came up with that overlay. And the way they do it is they get a black screen, and they get like little like little pieces. I don't know what you call
from the Scrabble board.
Yeah, kind of. Because they've used that for letters, but for the ABC thing, they've like custom made like a circle thing, and then they overlay that like in Photoshop on top of the feed, so they still own it, even though it's airing on NBC. Super fascinating stuff. But as I wrote here, when the team faced their slot being taken away from them and given to CBS, or did I say NBC? CBS, whoops.
Whatever the channel's
unless they share their feed with them, we get this build-up of tension. Don't worry though, they figure out that they are able to share the feed and put an ABC logo on top so they still own the feed. Yes, capitalism? Should I really be pumped that part of the film's tension is built around whether a corporate entity has ownership over a tragic event? What I've said there, if you want to unpack that, wildly interesting. The glorification of tragedy and like ownership of tragedy, and like, is that morally responsible? The film doesn't want to unpack any of those questions, and it just irritates me. Like, there's multiple moments where the tension isn't built around characters, it's built around ABC as a network. And it just makes me feel icky.
Yeah.
That I'm supposed to be invested in a story that's like, thank God the news network got to air this horrible tragedy. Like,
yeah, the trailer gave me that vibe, which had me like, why is this film? Why do we care?
And but
I don't think that's the intention.
But surely that wasn't like the vibe in the room at the time. Or maybe it is, maybe like people do feel that way to a workplace, like that attached, that they feel a responsibility. I wanted to like...
Well, I guess, yeah, if you're in the news, maybe you're drinking the Kool-Aid and you think that what you're doing is like, it's really important. I mean, sorry, sharing news is really important, but like, yeah, taking ownership of like a tragic event. I think they were wondering what they could show in the trailer, which is like a scary thing for them to be talking about.
That's the trailer line. It's in the movie, but they don't unpack that at all as well. They're like, can we show a guy getting killed on TV?
Yeah, that was like what concerned me from the trailer.
Yeah.
So I don't have much to say because I haven't seen the film, but like, yeah, just that icky vibe of like, yeah, sharing news is really important. Is it important to the detriment of like other people? No, probably not.
I mean, they have to contend with that as well. The fact that and this in the trailer, I think, they're like, do they know we're broadcasting? Like the terrorists? Because they've broadcasted broadcasted the event, and they have a TV, they're able to tell when like police are gonna try raid them or whatever, so that fails. Again, it's like one of these things that a line is brought up where John McGarrow's like, do we fuck that up? Like, is that on us? That's it though. Then they're on to the next thing. Where's the scene of him like really beat up? Because guess what? If you hadn't been broadcasting it, maybe those people would be alive. I don't know. Like, there's so many factors, but it'd be interesting to see if someone thought that way. Do you know? And then very briefly, politically, I just think it's weird. I kind of mentioned it at the start, but when art attempts to be apolitical, that in itself is a political statement. Like, you can't abstract politics out of art, just the way that you can't abstract it out of journalism. And I think the decision to make Palestinians as like, to abstract the fact that they're Palestinian out of the movie and to just be like, there's terrorists, but briefly mention at the start that they're Palestinian and not dig into why they've done that, apart from a line at the start, just feels a little bit weird to me, especially at the time of release. I think then you're talking about art maybe within the context of the movie and also just the wider context of the world, like why release it at this time, why portray them the way that they did, and that makes me feel icky as well. The movie just made me feel icky. The more that I think about it, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth on like you just didn't try comment on anything, and the only thing that I walked away was like, oh,
this thing happened.
Per news station, like, or I just didn't want to feel that way about a corporation. It's not like, made me feel about humans. Yeah,
it's weird that this is a nomination for the screenplay.
It makes complete sense though, because it's people that have watched this have felt something.
Do you think this like will mean more to people that actually like watch that event on TV? Do you think like that context helps?
I don't know. Because that is the one thing I walked away from being like, this was interesting. Like, it is interesting to see how they filmed a tragedy like this, despite it not being compelling as a film. Like, that aspect was actually really interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I don't know. Weird film, and it's. I actually encourage people, if they do go see it, honestly, I think I'd recommend you go see this as an exercise in like critical thinking. That makes me sound like fucking pompous arsehole. Like, go. But like, I think it's really interesting to observe a film like this that is decently made. It's all right, but like to unpack the politics and stuff within it, I think is fascinating. And maybe like a reminder that we should just watch stuff and then like forget about it.
This hopefully isn't one of those films that like people would do that with.
I'd hope not, but I can see the way it's been presented to be like, yeah. If you don't think about it,
yeah,
it's
just like this thrillery kind of thing with
like they did it and then oh shit they didn't, and then it's like really bleak and sad. But like, I don't know, very interesting movie. I would actually love to hear people's thoughts if they thought the same or thought differently. Like genuinely, if you leave a comment on this podcast, if you have seen it, or if you do go see it, please, I would love to hear more. It's a film that I didn't think I'd have a lot to say about, and then walked away and then couldn't stop thinking about it. So I mean, it provoked a reaction, so yeah.
Nice, just like your rating for it.
Yeah, I don't know. If we give ratings on, we don't really come to an agreement on whether or not we should give ratings, I guess.
I normally just say it because I feel like it gives a baseline, but I don't know if it matters that much. I think spoken word's better.
Yeah, I mean, I rated 2.5 out of 5, but yeah, I feel like I hope what I've said exemplifies why.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway.
The seed of the sacred fig.
Could maybe do Dogman first.
Oh,
I feel like Dogman's going to be really quick. Yeah, I don't want to go
okay, let's run
two politically dense things back to back.
Let's run through Dogman. Dogman was also very political.
Truly, like, I cannot wait to get your reaction to this. Have you seen the trailer to Dogman?
I have no idea what this film is.
This is taking me out. That we switched up so quickly.
This film is 0.1 lower on Letterboxd.
Then what?
Than September 5.
0.1 lower?
Yeah.
Rank that rating up. Come on now. Dogman for life.
Part man, part dog, all hero.
You know it. That's what they say about me. Bark, bark.
Yeah?
No, please cut that. I'm editing it.
Please don't.
You haven't read the description for this, no?
No, sure not.
Thank God. Yeah, don't read it. The movie starts. Dogman, everybody. You're in this beautifully... actually, prior to this, there was a short film before it. Yeah, like not a Pixar, a DreamWorks movie had a short film before it.
Interesting.
It was The Bad Guys, Alibis and Lies or something. I've never seen The Bad Guys. I've heard it's very good. This was fine. I was more just happy that there was a short film before it. I was like, oh, bring this back. Bring back intermissions and bring back short films.
I completely misunderstood what you were saying. You said there was a short film before it. I thought you meant there was a short film of Dogman at some point previously.
Oh,
and then that got picked up, and then it was like that became a full film.
No.
You literally just mean like
a short film before,
short, yeah, like how Pixar did. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Which was just I liked it.
Yeah.
Also, very smart business move because then people are like, who are these guys? So anyway, we open on this fantastically animated world. I mean, this is such a compliment. It is a kids' drawings come to life. Like, it's just wacky and bananas and there's little jokes and everybody's like scribbled in. It just looks fun. And you're following, is the guy's name, I just can't remember what the guy's name is. You're following a man and his dog named Greg. Don't try to find it because he's like in the movie for 2 seconds. And they're chasing down Petey the cat and they're running around the city. And oh no, they reach this ramp and they're like, wow, Petey's got like a flying car or whatever, so he did it fine. And the guy turns to his dog and he's like, if I don't make it from this, please like tell my girlfriend I love her or something. So they zoom up into the sky and then they fall. And then they get in a tragic accident.
And then they get put together.
And it cuts to the hospital and these two nurses going, oh no, the dog's body's broken. Well, the guy's head's broken. What if no, we couldn't, and they fully just sew a dog's head onto the body of a man.
Fantastic. But the man's hands look like paws.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it.
This doesn't make any sense. Also, I've had I didn't read the description, but I looked over and you said Petey the cat.
Yeah.
And the description ends with Petey the cat and also has one word before it.
Super villain. Yeah. It's actually, I just was sitting there in cinema like, what the fuck is this origin story? Because they're chasing an anthropomorphic cat. So you assume an anthropomorphic dog really isn't out of the question? No, it's a dog's head on a man's body. Also, the dog then can't talk. So you have a cat who's talking away, but the anthropomorphic dog is not allowed to speak.
It's a kids' movie. Why does Goofy speak and Pluto can't?
I really think this is an interesting subject to unpack.
Yeah.
You know, the domesticity of pets. Yeah, so Dogman is born, and he's like this super cop, as they say in the movie. With S-U-P-A, super. And he's taken down criminals left and right. But the only criminal he's taken down is Petey the cat, who keeps doing these nasty things because he wants to kill Dogman. And it's basically a back and forth the entire movie of them like catching one another. And eventually, Petey the cat decides, I need somebody to help me. But the only person I trust is me. So he clones himself. But the cloning machine he buys, it births a child. He has to wait 18 years for the clone to come of age. So this child thinks that he's his dad when actually he's his clone.
How many years does this film take place over?
0, like a few days.
Oh, okay.
The child doesn't grow up in this movie.
just
the child's
just a baby in this film.
Yeah, but the child can talk. So the baby can talk. The dog man can't. But Lil P, as he's called, what a guy! He's like, your dad, you don't need to be evil, basically. And the dad's fed up with him. He's like, stop calling me dad. I don't want you. And he leaves him. He abandons his child. And who finds Lil Petey? None other than Dogman. So then you enter this like triangle of sorts between the three of them, where the two arch rivals hate each other, but Lil Petey connects them because they both love Lil Petey. And it ends up being this story of like,
this
the way you're
wild.
looking at me, I know. It ends up being a story of like abandonment issues and like how that can breed dark feelings within people. The movie's fun. It's a fun like stick on it. Whatever. I'm sure kids will love this because the animation is superb. It falls into the camp of not nearly as good as this, but like Spider-Verse or like TMNT Mutant Mayhem, or like, do you know those movies that have decided to do something different with their animation and there's life in the animation?
I feel like this is much closer to TMNT.
It is.
Than Spider-Man.
It is. But the world's super fun. There was so many. Night. Don't be dissing Dogman like that. It's just super fun. Like, there's so many little visual gags that had me laughing, and there's like plenty of adult jokes. The film, though, thinks you have the attention span of a 2-year-old. It is an assault. Like, it's like, oh, joke. Some of them are great, some of them not so much.
So if you only watch TikTok, this is the film for you.
If you love TikTok, if you love Subway Surfers on the side of your screen, get ready, because this movie is like the screen and the Subway Surfers combined.
Why is the Subway Surfers on the side of your screen? It's normally on the bottom of your screen.
Oh, I don't know.
You
Do you know what I was
TikTok
actually
horizontally.
picturing? I was picturing a cinema where they had a TikTok and they also had Subway Surfers.
It's like the Screen X, but instead it's like the film.
Could you imagine?
Subway Surfers Family
On the
Guy.
sides, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we came up with a great business idea. And for our friend Samuel.
Wow, this is Samuel on the podcast.
Not this. If you watch movies on your phone.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
Yeah. All in all, this is just a fun movie. There's absolutely nothing great, like incredible about it, but it's pretty fun. I really don't have much more to say about Dogman. I really just liked the animation. It was just a fun like hour and a half, I guess. And I'm glad DreamWorks are like trying to do new things, because the Kung Fu Panda 4 was not great. This is better than that.
Great, I've not seen either of them. So.
And also like they made the Wild Robot, so like they're building new IP, which is nice to see from an animation house, because Pixar's obviously going the other way. So I hope this continues. But I guess it won't, because I think the next movie is the live action How to Train Your Dragon, so...
Oh, I can't wait!
Yeah, could you imagine if that's good?
Like, yeah, what's the definition of good here? Because it's all shot for shot, so like, is a live action version of the exact same of the first one good?
I mean, that was answered with The Lion King, I guess.
Okay, the answer is no.
No, yeah. But this thing, you got humans, so who knows? Seed of the Sacred Fig?
Yeah, go for it.
If people are listening to this in order...
It's the funniest thing. I hope they are. This is my Barbenheimer. September 5, Seed of the Sacred Fig. In that
also,
order.
want to really bring up, I said September 5 because I think that's how it's going. That's never mentioned in the movie. Like, it's such a bad title for a movie.
Right.
Also, it should be September 5th. Who the fuck says, I'll meet you September 5?
I don't know. September 5 is weird. I actually like it. I think it rolls off the tongue quite nicely. September 5.
I guess I'm just going to start saying to you, I'll meet you on dates without the at the end.
When does that ever happen?
Never.
When are you?
I'm never going to.
I'll meet you.
When I'll meet you February
20th. 8th.
Yeah.
So crazy person.
Well, I am for seeing. I didn't see these three in the same day.
This is rated quite highly.
Yes, it is.
I'm assuming you enjoyed this.
I did indeed. The Seed of the Sacred Fig. If you have not heard of it, it is nominated this year for International Feature at the Oscars, which normally I feel like if you are looking at different, what would you call them? Different branches, different categories of the Oscars, the International Feature is a solid one to go with. Like, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 decent movies, because it's like every film worldwide condensed, well, apart from America, condensed into like one category. In saying that, Emilia Perez is also nominated there, so who knows. This is it. Oh my god. If you haven't watched Emilia Perez, you don't want to watch this instead. Seed of the Sacred Fig takes place in Iran. Now also, this movie opens really interestingly. It opens with a title card prior to like any production logo or anything that says this film was made in secret, like it shouldn't, it's like against the law for this to be made.
Oh wow.
So it really immerses you in immediately. I saw this last night very late, and it's a 3-hour movie, so I haven't had as much time as I wanted to read into this. But the director, Mohammad Rasulov,
David Hasselhoff.
Wow. Wow. Wait till I tell you what this movie's about, and you're gonna go, oh!
I can't believe I made that joke.
He fled Iran after making this and made his way to Cannes, where this was screened at Cannes and won the jury prize.
Making the film and then fled.
So that's what I don't know the extent of, but he at some point made this, fled Iran because it was illegal to make this, and it ended up at Cannes. A lot of the actors, the younger actors, I was looking, this is their first movie, and I saw some reviews that were like, I hope the actors are safe, because what they're doing in this movie is technically like this political statement of acting up against the government, I guess. To give you a brief description of what this movie is, you follow a family who is living in Iran at the time of political upheaval. And the dad of this family, his name is Aman, he is an investigating judge. what that means, I don't know how terribly familiar people will be with Iran's history. I'm not terribly familiar. I kind of learned what I knew through this movie, I guess. I knew little bits and bobs, but this was expanding upon it. There was a time where it was more like women's liberation. This was very recent as well, like women's liberation. They a lot of it was like taking off the hijab, and there was like lots of protests in the street about the way that their government was treating them, and there was tons of arrests being made, like hundreds a day. There was also the secret police that were killing people on the streets, and the purpose of this investigating judge was to look at people that came in to prisons and decide whether or not they should be given the death penalty or not.
Based on
the information he was given. And at one point in the movie, he's like, oh yeah, so many arrests are happening. I'm getting 100, 200, 300 cases a day, and I have a few minutes to decide whether or not that person should be killed. It's very heavy. It's a very interestingly structured movie. The first third kind of is this like preamble to understand the political grounds that this movie stands on, which I think is really helpful for people that don't know this, but also it isn't force-fed in a way that's like, here's what's happening in our country. It plays out like a narrative, and it does influence the rest of the movie. So you don't really follow the dad at all in this first bit. He goes away and he gets promoted to this investigating judge, and every now and again he'll come home late and you'll see little conversations with his wife. The main bulk of this first third focuses on the wife and their two daughters, who are dealing with battling ideologies about how people are being treated in their country. So the two daughters, as you would kind of expect, are more liberal and want to get involved in this fight where there are protests going on, and the mum is very protective of them, you know, saying kind of like what people are doing in the street is wrong because they're protesting God's will and God's law. And the two daughters are on social media and they're seeing all these videos of what's happening in the street and think it's abhorrent, you know, and that something else should be done. So this first third really focuses in on one of the daughter's friends who comes to stay for a day, and the mum isn't happy because the dad's just been promoted. And when they get promoted to these positions, because there is so much like upheaval in Tehran, they leak information of the officers and stuff and where they live, so that people
they're all in danger now.
Yeah.
Right.
So inviting a friend into their home, the mum becomes paranoid because she's like, we don't know who she is, or she doesn't know who she is, and that could lead to them getting exposed and their family becomes unsafe. So you're grappling with a lot of like, it's tense at the start, gets far more tense as it goes on, but there's a level of tension between all the family members. What happens is the mother is dropping her daughter off at college, who is friends with this woman, and this woman gets attacked. The movie's murky about whether or not they're in a protest or not, but they claim that they are just going to college, and she gets shot in the face. And they have to sneak their mum out, and the two daughters look after this girl that's been shot in the face. But obviously there's a level of like, they don't want their mum to find out because they've just invited her back into the home, and what will she think? So there's this whole first act about like, you know why the protests are happening, people are getting extremely hurt or killed, and you've set up the ideologies of the kids and the parent of what they think about all this stuff. That kind of does influence the decisions of other people, but story-wise is like a completely separate story to like the second and third act. The dad comes home, you start to learn a little bit more about the dad, and they start to have political conversations because the mum's like, you're not connecting with your daughters, you're never here. So they have a family dinner and they start to talk about the politics of what's going on. The dad also has a gun in the house. They go to sleep, and the gun goes missing. And then the rest of the 2/3 of the movie is just pure paranoia of the dad not knowing where his gun is. He could face up to 3 years in jail if they find out that his gun's away, or that he's lost it. And then he has a quote in the movie where he's like, I don't feel safe, I don't even feel safe in my own home. So it's all 4 of them being at each other. The 2 daughters are kind of with each other, but like, you have the gun, it's like accusations and this like just constant build-up of like tension. And it's so interesting because that's all underpinned with the ideologies that you've learned about the 4 of them. And that's the rest of the movie, like 2 hours-ish of that movie just plays out on like, they don't know where the gun is and it's increasingly getting more dangerous to the point where something happens and they have to leave their home. And there's like this fantastic sequence where it feels like it reaches a fever pitch, which also it gets worse from there, but it feels like it reaches a fever pitch and you follow the dad and it is just every single interaction from like his drive, basically from his drive home from work. He is just, somebody's gonna kill him. Like you're constantly on edge. There's Chekhov's gun. I mean, the gun is literally Chekhov's gun. You feel like somebody's gonna get shot, or like they build up so well to like a really fascinating conclusion. Brilliant movie. I would say it's in line with those like why am I blanking? Uncut Gems or like Good Time, or like those
complete, like tension the whole way through it. I'm actually really sad that I missed it.
It's and it's so annoying because this had 1 showing yesterday. It came out yesterday and it had 1 showing, and this is so worth the watch. I'm not gonna get into like the 3rd act and like where that goes, because I think you get rewarded for sitting with this family for so long and the tension that seeing where that goes at the end is really fascinating. There is it's not perfect. There is a decision that's made that I'm struggling to understand.
Okay.
And I saw this with Samuel, shout out again. And I think we both were unclear. The movie doesn't really expand upon why this if you've seen the movie, you know there's like one decision. And it feels a little comical.
This is like a director's decision or something. So
no, it's completely like narrative. It's within the plot. Okay. Like, or actually, I don't even need to spot. The gun goes missing. You find the gun at some point. Mm-hmm. How you find the gun is like, I don't.
It's just silly.
It's not necessarily silly. It's just not. It doesn't feel backed up by the rest of the movie previously, right, and it's really hard to get your head around why that decision was made, because 2 hours of the movie was built up to this decision. Do you know? And a little bit towards the end, you know, the dad. It's really interesting because the dad clearly feels torn up about the decisions he has to make. They actually do a really interesting job of building his what's the word? Not unfazed, like his I can't think of the word.
I'm struggling to figure out what word you're trying to reach.
Where he's like his unbotheredness, like nothing phases him.
Right. Okay.
That they build that up very well. Where like you see a conversation with his wife where he's like, "I've been asked to sign this death penalty for someone, and I don't know how to feel about it," and then it's like, I'm signing multiple of these. I'm signing hundreds of these, and he slowly becomes, I can't think of the word.
Oh, just like a hostile person.
Yeah, like a mute, like yeah. He just like it doesn't bother him. To the point though where it like he builds up into being this again like kind of like comically evil person.
Sorry, they kind of like show his apathy.
Apathy. Thank you. Jeez. So yeah, yes. Towards the end, and it makes sense, but it's just so fast, and the way it swings at the end does feel a little out of character. It doesn't feel as realistic as the rest of the movie felt. Like he just feels like pure evil, And I get it because it's very obvious that he is supposed to be a metaphor for Iran. Did I say Iran? Yeah, it's Iran.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be this metaphor for Iran, and the way it ends and different things, like it's very clear that that's what's happening. But I think in making him a metaphor, you sacrifice his character a little.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't fully bother me. I'm still very gripped at the end. It just felt a little like movie, I guess, where he just didn't feel as real as he did before, and they did such a good job making everybody in that family feel real. The mother is by far the most interesting character because she has this like, she really has to grapple with her ideologies of like, she believed one thing and then that is slowly but surely just disintegrating as she learns from her daughters, but also from her husband, the way her husband's acting. And like, they have this like really interesting dialogue scene where it's but it's God's law or something, and they talk about, but what if that's wrong? And he's like, it can't be wrong. And there's a lot at play politically. I just find this fascinating. Like, it's 3 hours. I mean, Samuel, we both said at the end, I think this is a great way of putting it, like, it felt 3 hours. It didn't fly by. It wasn't like incredibly paced or anything, but I'm not sad that it was. I was okay to sit with that.
Yeah, it's not just because it's a heavy film with a lot of stuff going on.
Maybe, but I feel like sometimes you could be like, oh, that was exhausting.
Yeah.
It didn't quite feel like that.
Oh, okay.
There was little bits here and there that I was like, maybe this is a little long in the tooth and like you can cut little bits, but I think it was worth it. I don't know. Great movie, important film that I think is very much worth watching. Yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough, to be honest.
Great. There's still loads in the cinema that I have to watch, so add that to the list.
With Dogman, I hope.
Oh yeah, no. Well, Dogman's number 1.
Yes, of course. Oh, I did want to mention, that was one thing. They intercut this movie with real footage that was taken.
Oh, so you've just seen 2 films that have had real footage?
Yeah, but this is like social media recordings of the protest.
Oh my god.
It's very difficult to watch. And there's extended sequences, and I think it is such a genius move from the director though, because it's like, you're not allowed to look away. Like, this is happening in the world. So yeah, great movie.
Brilliant.
Very good. Shall we?
Yeah, whatever we move on to now is so much lighter.
Thank God, I'm a little bit like, whew, no. Spider-Man.
Yeah, sure, Spider-Man. So I literally just watched the 3 episodes that got released last night.
Yeah.
I'm in 2 minds about this show because I'm like really interested. I think episode 3 I really enjoyed, and then I can't remember what was happening. In 4, I think he's trying on different suits.
Yes.
And then, sorry, I am looking out my window at my dog because she looks like a human right now. She's like got her paws on the fence, and I'm worried she's going to try and escape. Episode 5, I was less interested. It has such a good ending, like the cliffhanger that we kind of got left on.
You're going to have to remind me.
I don't want it. You have to cut it. Is that okay?
Well, no, because we could just keep it in.
But I don't want people to know what it is.
Why would people be listening to 3, 4, and 5 though?
Why would they not be listening to it?
Because then I don't know.
Essentially, the character you're following that is later,
Oh, sorry. I know exactly where you're going.
They reveal who he is.
Yeah, it sucks.
And yeah, so like I've been kind of bored over the 3 episodes, sort of, because it was generic Spider-Man figuring out how to be Spider-Man. And then they were doing like generic gang stuff. Like there was nothing that I could like sink my teeth into that he was like having to do that was different or interesting, I thought. And then you kind of got the reveal of who he was, and I was like, like I don't, like, he's such a good kid. I don't want to see him go down like this sort of bad route. And consider how disconnected this universe is from everything else. Like they could try and save him or whatever. So yeah, episode 3 I think is just like him having conversations with Norman. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting, like seeing this version of Norman Osborn speaking to Peter and having that back and forth. 4 was just like kind of goofy because it was like him trying on new suits. I didn't find it all that interesting. And then 5 I thought was like quite generic. Spider-Man stuff, and then we got left on that, and I was like, no, because then I was even more invested in Leighton's story, and I want to see what happens because I care a lot.
I don't necessarily think the strength of this arc was the Spider-Man stuff, and I think it's serviceable. I think you need that to build up where he's going. The strength of the stuff was Lonnie?
I thought it was Leighton.
It's not Leighton.
Why have I... They also call him Lincoln at some point?
Lonnie Lincoln, is that not his name? I could be wrong. But it's not Leighton, because I'd go, Professor Leighton.
That's funny. Yeah, I think you're right. It's Lonnie Lincoln. I don't know why I have Leighton in my... Oh.
You've combined them?
Professor Layton's the game?
Yeah.
I was having a conversation about that yesterday.
Oh, that's... What? With who?
Our friend Dermot.
Oh. I fucking love... Of course, I love Professor Layton. Yeah. Yeah, the strength of that arc was him. I know you say it's generic gang stuff, but I think it's interesting coming from the point of view of he's like this good kid, like very studious and stuff, and he's been thrust into this, and it is, you know, saddening.
Yeah, that's the only like emotion I'm getting from it is like
there's a dichotomy between how they're both perceiving New York, which is interesting. It's interesting though that those are the only two characters that are kind of getting any development. Like Harry's been introduced a little and he's becoming more of a character. Norman's kind of just a figurehead. I really like Coleman Domingo as Norman though. Cast him in the movies, please. I was like, if you go the college route and you do him and then cast Harry as, I don't know.
Sure, because the universes are supposed to be like quite close together, that they could feasibly have him come in as Norman Osborn in these next like 3 films, and that would be
It'd be really cool. Also, Coleman Domingo's just so cool as a person, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought they developed Nico a little bit more. I'm aware you still don't know who she is.
Is she Miguel's daughter?
No.
Her last name's O'Hara, is it not?
No. In this? Is it? Will she be Miguel's great-grandmother or something?
Right. Well, I was wondering if you like freaking time travel
had
a family or something.
Nico is not. It's Nico...
Minori. Minori.
Oh shit, no, you've looked it up. You've not been spoiled who she...
No, I'm seeing Miguel.
Oh, what?
That's because I still have O'Hara in there.
Oh. Well, don't look it up because then you'll get spoiled who she is.
Okay.
It's making me giggle that you don't know shit. She's not like a major person, but I just thought...
And you were like, oh, you've seen her.
We have seen her in a thing.
Which is shocking to me. Yeah. Nico, I think of Carter Digital. I don't have an association with that name for anyone else.
I just of who she is, I just thought we'd get a little bit more, and it feels like they're leaning into her like becoming bad.
Oh, because they're gonna fall out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell me, is that amulet that she's wearing got anything to do with who she is?
I wonder.
The one that she speaks to before walking into the cinema.
The one that like is all animation. It's all the same animation, but for some reason it's like, look at the amulet.
Yeah, it's just like the color, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't have much to say, but I just had an enjoyable 3 episodes with these.
Yeah, I do. They feel a little bit long to me for how much is in them.
Oh.
Like, technically they're only like 25 minutes. I feel like it's hard to be like, oh, it feels like there's fluff in them, because I don't, but it just feels like maybe they just feel like a little bit longer than I feel like they should feel. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's because this felt generic, like this little art.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when they go from here and now, because he's established.
Yeah.
Also love this. Is it the Superior Spider-Man suit?
Is that because it's like white with the black.
The white and black.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like you're not a fan.
No, I did like it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to him being in his actual Spider-Man suit.
I think that's going to be his actual suit.
I like how... No, because he got shown a new suit. Was that the new
Which
suit?
was the white and black,
it was that. But him and Harry have the conversation around like not really liking the design of his suit. So Harry's talking about needing more colour, and I think Pete is too. So I think it'd be interesting if they design a suit together.
Interesting. And cut Norman out, and that's what means Norman out. You're not wearing my clothes.
I feel like, do you think Norman's bad here?
No.
Because I feel like they just keep slipping in like tiny bits that are like, or maybe not that he has bad intentions, but like there's a little bit of like an aggressiveness to him. And then maybe that's what causes the Green Goblin.
Yeah, I don't see how that lines up. I mean, they have set up who I'm so glad they revealed this early on, but the person who was supplying all the tech to the villains, it's like, okay, I know the symbol, I can like put 2 and 2 together on who this is.
That's funny, I didn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was looking at it and I was like, for some reason they've designed the Oscorp logo quite like close to like Doc Ock. So I think it's a hexagon instead of an octagon or something. But I was like, I don't know why they made that specific decision. And then so I was looking at this S and I was like, I realize now it's an 8 plus the 2 freaking octagons. Like it makes so much sense. But I was like, what the hell does this signify?
Thought O.
That's also smart. Never saw that in there.
Yeah.
I love how fast and loose they're playing with the designs of characters. So Otto Octavius is comic book accurate. He looks exactly like
going to bring up. Yeah.
But they've done the thing with like they've kind of gender swapped like Dr. Connors and stuff. So they completely pull the rug out from under you because you see the other Doctor that looks like classic Dr. Connors design. You know, like the grumpy.
Yes, I didn't even think for that.
I thought it was Dr. Connors to start with, and then they call him by his name, and I was like, oh, it's not Dr. Connors. And then you have Dr. Connors come in and introduce herself, and
that's
you're like,
fun.
oh, that's brilliant the way that they've done that.
Yeah.
So I like how they're just picking and choosing what they want to take and how they're going to use it. I think I made a comment on here about Spider-Man last week, where I talked about him going to the same high school. I think I was really tired when I was when I was watching it. So when I was talking about it, I didn't quite clock that because of the thing that happens at the start of the show. He's not at Midtown High.
Yeah.
He's at the other. I can't remember.
I still thought you were just talking about that school had that same design.
But it is the
which
exact
it
same
is.
design. Yeah. They've got the Sokovia Accords happening in the
That
background.
was I like popped off. I'm like, this is little bits like that are so fascinating where you can have a TV screen, and I normally don't like exposition delivered as news.
Yeah.
But like this is so nothing to do with the show, really. Yeah. And it's like this is like what if? There's more than one change, but like that one change where it's past in this world.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's
what are the implications of that? Like
it's like just like little bits that we see that are the same. Like they even hold up a phone in the episode prior where it shows the video of him catching the truck or whatever, which is what Tony Stark shows him in Civil War and goes like, look, this is you, right? It's the same video, but just like in cartoon form, and I think it's Norman that shows it to him. Like it's just interesting seeing all the parallels.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I think it's solid, and I still think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, me too.
I need you to watch X-Men 97. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna rewatch this.
I'm sorry. I was talking about Westworld yesterday, and now I'm like, now I feel like I need to find time somewhere to just try and get through that show because I want to watch it all before I watch season 4.
Baby, I got them on blue 4K.
I know, dude. I low-key want to own them myself though because because I really love the show and I intend to rewatch it more than once probably.
If people want it, a Westworld recap podcast.
Yeah. Maybe a little special. Speaking of things that are well past the time to speak about.
I was like, okay, cool.
I just watched Severance season 1 for the first time.
Wow.
And oh my god, if you're not watching this show, go watch it. It's really good.
It's late to the party.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about it going in. I probably should just generally talk about what it is. It's 3 years out now, so I don't think like me talking about the general kind of how the show is constructed as a spoiler.
You're good. Also, people watch trailers and stuff. You were just like, I don't want
All
to know
I saw
anything.
was the poster with Adam Scott and his freaking head open, and I was like, are there little people inside their heads? Is this like,
oh my god, like
that film
with
in the 2000s?
Don Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
When they're all, what is that movie called?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Get Human? No, the way that's gonna bug me. Eddie, what would Eddie Murphy?
Tiny Human.
Eddie Murphy's Small People movie. Meet Dave.
Meet Dave. Oh my god. Don't remember that film very well. But I do
Guess the
remember
year that came out.
2006.
2008. Same year as The Dark Knight. That's where my brain was immediately.
Severance. So good. Every character in that show, brilliant. We didn't speak about this actually. I don't know how much I should cover like what the show's about. Basically, it's about like work-life balance. People get severed in their brain. It means that you have like a part of you that remembers your work, a part of you that remembers the rest of your life. They don't have any memories of each other. They don't know what the other one's thinking. They don't really know who each other are. So people like live their life, go to work, they check in, they go down an elevator into the severed floor, and then their brain switches out, and they are now the severed version of themselves. And it's all like the politics of like this is a bad thing, really. Like it's work-life balance, and that's what it's promoted as. But it is just really like it's just like slavery. Like you're just making people do things because they become people in their own right. They're like their own entities that are just forced to work. And the way that your memory switching works is that like if you are in that workplace and you go up the elevator, you immediately just come back down because that's all your memory just switches back in. And so like your life is work. And that's just awful. Especially with the way that they're treated as well, because they're not treated like, it's almost like a creche in some ways, and you get like punished like really badly. But you're also treated as like a child when you're like doing the work. Like it's just really patronizing from the people around them. All the people that aren't severed that do work in that place just seem a bit crazy.
Like what you're on about.
Like just insane. The thing I did want to mention on that topic is the main character. I say the main character, Adam Scott's character. Mark.
Anything Mrs. Selvig.
Yeah. All of the people that are like his sister's friends are just like bonkers.
Oh.
It's just the funniest thing. They're not like real people.
Yep.
And it's just like a really weird thing to see because if everyone felt like relatively real, I'd say like, there's a lot of comedy in the show.
Yeah.
But
it's just
beyond the bizarreness of those characters, they all feel quite fleshed out and real. But all the sisters' friends are just a bit fucking real.
I wonder. So I'm rewatching season 1, and I wonder if we don't know the time period this is taking place and like stuff has happened. Because there are people that just act very bizarre. I don't know, and I don't know if the show's ever gonna like touch on that. Like, when is this taking place? Is this taking place now, or is it taking place like in some distant future where something's happened?
2080, there's a lot of things that have happened prior, and like
who knows?
Yeah. Thoroughly excited for season 2. I don't want to spend too long on Severance.
You just wanted to mention it
that I've seen
to recommend it
and to recommend the show, and that we will be talking about season 2, and I will be very excited about it. It is just great. I think I didn't feel like season 1 was particularly fast because I think we were talking about this, but I think it like builds up at the perfect speed to the finale.
And he's the lucky fuck that didn't have to wait years on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. The whole of that last episode builds to a cliffhanger that I don't really have to wait for. I think I'm going to be starting season 2 today, maybe. So. Lucky me. I also wanted to mention, because I can't speak about like new films that have come out. Last weekend I watched Narnia: The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh my god!
It is a fantastic film.
Was that your first time seeing it?
No, I was rewatching it, but like, it's so good. It's like 2.5 hours as well. It is a long film, but it is just like magical. It's one of those films that fits into that period where like you had the earlier Harry Potter films as well, and it was just like the magic of those films. It was so good.
It's quintessential viewing for me. Like it was a DVD that was, I was gonna say ran raw. That's not an expression.
That is for like torn to bits and you spin it around so long.
It was stuck in the DVD player. I love that movie. Introduction to Tilda Swinton.
Oh my god, is she in Stambuk?
Oh, absolutely. And that's another Scot. Yes, indeed.
Yes, is Tilda Swinton Scottish?
Yes. She doesn't sound it, but she is Scottish.
What? But did she leave? When did she leave here?
I don't know. She's fully Scottish. Like, was born here.
Born in London.
That's a lie. She's Scottish. No.
She feels like an honorary Scot.
No. She's brought up that she's Scottish. Yes, Tilda Swinton is Scottish. She was born in London in 1960, but identifies as Scottish because of her family background and childhood in Scotland. Swinton's father was a Major General in the British Army, and her mother was Australian. She attended schools in England and Scotland. Okay, well, I maybe need to look into this more, but
I think she's Scottish.
She self-identifies as Scottish, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
So,
our queen.
She's in the Sandbook. She has so many movies.
Our Queen of Narnia.
Wow, truly. I was obsessed. Give me Turkish Delight. Like, oh my god, when she pulls that out, I'm like, yeah, that's the best looking thing I've ever seen.
I love when I think he gets the drink first, the hot chocolate, and he's like done with it, and he asks for Turkish Delight. She hands that down to like her minion. I can't remember what his name is. I think it starts with a G. And then
Guru.
It's just Guru.
Yeah.
He grabs the cup off of her and just chucks it over his shoulder, like back at the tree, and it hits the tree and smashes and turns into snow.
Oh, cool.
It's just like little details. I think Narnia is like such an interesting property, and Greta Gerwig is taking over, and doing like our own reboot or whatever. I'd like to think that would be more than one film, but I don't see her as a person that's going to do it. Like,
well, people were like upset that she's went from indie film, like I love all this, to like big franchise movies.
I'm so interested to see your take on this though.
So am I. And also, Reddit, or what should I take to something, where people are like, how many female directors can you say that are getting to helm franchises and stuff? It's very few. Like, people should be happy that she's getting to do something like this. And I should say, I'm very interested to see what she does. I do have a slight concern though. I saw Percy Jackson season 2 just got wrapped filming. Those kids are aging like so much. Like last week we were talking about gaps between seasons and stuff. Production's gonna have to be a little bit faster, especially if you're doing something like Narnia and you want to pump out a few of those movies.
So Narnia, I'm not totally sure because I haven't read the books or anything. Are they? It's not always the same kids that are in the stories, right? Like, there's that one family with 4 kids. I can't remember what their last names are, and I just watched the film. It starts to be, I want to say Percival, but it's not Percival. It's close enough. There's those 4 kids. They switched them out as those 3 films went on. They were the 3 that. Yeah, 2 of them leave the. Film
because they age out.
But does that happen in the books?
I think so, because they're too old. They can't access Narnia.
So like that's fine. Like that's fine in the context of a film.
Yeah.
I think there's also a film a book prior to Lion and the Witch, the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Which also wouldn't have those kids.
Yeah, I just mean more like, because they made Prince Caspian and then Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
It's
Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Voyage Treasure. I've lost my point. Oh, I think there's books in between those.
There might be. I'm not sure. I actually have it on that shelf, but I'm not gonna go drag them out.
Lovely. Now I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I'm not gonna cast anyone as iconic as Tilda Swinton though. Sorry. Unless it's Linda from Traitors. Yes.
You don't have to be a sailor to know how to tie a rope.
Sorry. Get over it. I love that, like, maybe 2 people listening understand any of those references.
Maybe.
Owen, you've got another question.
This one's a funny question. If you had to be cast in any film as a starring role, but all the others are Muppets, which film and who would you play?
Oh, wait. This is way more important. Right. If I had to be cast in a film that already exists, I'd get to pick one character in that and everybody else is a Muppet.
Yeah. So
okay.
you're
so, for example, I would be like Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception and everybody else. Miss Piggy's on the thing, like, don't let go, Jack. There's so much room.
We're flying.
Oh, Kirby.
That's fantastic.
I love impressions of the Muppets. Goodness me. This is such a fun question. Do you have anything that springs to mind?
I didn't, but as I was reading the question, I want to be Batman in a world of Muppets.
Oh my goodness.
Where are they? It's like Beaker, like
it's a chicken. Okay, that's incredible. What Batman movie?
Oh god, I think it's
BBS. You have Kermit as Superman.
Oh no, I have to choose a film.
Please choose BBS, because then who is the Wonder Woman? Who gets the "is she with you" moment? Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
Nee. Could you imagine?
Batman film would be. I'm trying to think of a funny scene that would actually like just look fantastic.
It's the entire movie.
I feel like I could make Batman and Robin even goofier.
Jesus
By
Christ,
making
that's
everyone
so obscene.
Muppet nipples.
Yep.
That's wild. I'm just picturing like they have like a really goofy shot at the end of Batman and Robin where it's like their cars and everything, and it's Batman, Batwoman, and Robin like driving with these souped up cars or whatever, and it'd just be like me in this shitty silvery Batman suit, and then like Muppets next to me driving along.
Driving like fucking Hot Wheels next to you. That's incredible.
I also think The Dark Knight would be great. Oh no, sorry, The Dark Knight. Because it would be like the interrogation scene.
Who's the Joker?
Kermit. Just knocking the shit out of Kermit.
Hi ho, the Joker here.
I don't know the Muppets well enough to think of like a really funny person to switch out Joker for.
I honestly, I just imagine Kermit being like singing Rainbow Connection and Batman being like, "Where are they?"
Rachel!
Rachel's Miss Piggy. Oh god, this is. I really wish I had like an interesting answer to this. I can think of movies that would like work. So like more absurdist movies, like And Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah. I think it would like fit very well in that
world. Trying to take a serious story and then like implement that is really funny, I think.
Yeah. What's a movie that I'd like to be in?
Can you imagine?
Oh my god, Captain America Civil War, could you imagine that?
So everyone's fighting, it's Muppets
Challengers.
Are you Zendaya?
I'm Zendaya.
And just Muppet Boys.
Gonzo and Kermit. Good god. Event like all these like big.
You're Zendaya, and it's the freaking old dudes are the.
That's a pretty good answer. You do know this is gonna just play on my mind for like the rest of it. I might pick Marriage Story. And I'm Adam Driver, and I'm Miss Piggy as ScarJo.
I wake up every morning, I wish you were dead.
It's pissed because of Miss Piggy. I actually am gonna pick that. I'm gonna pick Marriage Story. Oh no. My brain. I have two answers. One that I think is fucking hilarious because of the premise of the movie. The Prestige.
Oh my, wait.
Because of the twist. If you haven't seen The Prestige, I'm not going to spoil it. But could you imagine?
You're Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
And every other version, every clone is the Muppet.
Spoilers for The Prestige.
Fucking, it came out like almost 20 years ago.
I actually just might stick with that. I like The Prestige.
I like to think, you know how it's like it goes in, he doesn't know which one comes out.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow it because every clone is the Muppet if you're the human, and then if you're the Muppet that goes in, the clone that comes out is like you again.
Is the human.
So it's like you double up.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Sorry, That's a really stupid thing. It's not like it's transporting. It's always the same. So it would just be like, you'd just always be you. But
that's such a good answer. Thinking about this, I don't know if you want to expand on this question just a tad. If you could make a movie where like you have a cast, say like 5 people, but one of them's a muppet, like only one person in that movie is a muppet, I have an idea for a movie. I think you do like a girls' road trip movie. Like, I think that's something like that's missing from cinemas. And you have people like like Sabrina Carpenter, Trisha Paytas, what's her name from, oh my god, The White Lotus, Jennifer Coolidge. I need like one other like fits into that, Meryl Streep and Miss Piggy go on a girls' road trip. Can you imagine?
I thought you meant a film that exists. There's one's a Muppet.
Oh, that's also a fun.
We were talking about like Avengers or Spider-Man and stuff. I just thought the Hulk as a Muppet would be fucking hilarious. Like he's still got all this round. So it's like it's the thing in the Avengers where it goes round. Yeah. And it's just like Kermit with like his little twig arms.
That's really funny. Yeah. I want my girls' trip movie to be made.
Yeah, go make it.
I'll just call them up.
You got Meryl Streep's number, do you?
Oh, me and Meryl are like that.
What? Why do I not know about this?
Because I keep on the demo.
Oh, the DL.
The DL.
You and MS on the DL.
No. Don't like that at all. Don't like that at all. I think about Mamma Mia a lot recently, actually. Her version of Slipping Through My Fingers made me quite sad recently.
Well, yeah, it's really sad. So I honestly saw TikTok with that in the background recently.
Oh, really? Oh.
It was 2 people singing it. I think there was a guy in a piano. I don't know why.
Oh, I saw this.
The guy in the piano and his mom.
Oh, and his mom, and they both sing. That's probably why I thought of it.
Yeah.
What a lovely song. And with that, that concludes this week's episode of Blood to Go, baby. I think a pretty successful episode.
Yeah, we definitely spoke about a lot.
Yeah, it was another jam-packed episode.
Yeah, truly. How long's the episode title going to be?
Good God.
It's like...
Owen has watched nothing.
But finally Severance.
but Severance? And it's you on the thumbnail like, oh?
With my head like...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. As always, like, review, rate, comment, follow.
Subscribe.
On YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and especially Spotify.
And also Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah. I mean, everywhere you get your podcasts. Yeah. Next week, is a big week, baby. We got just two releases, but they're major. We've got Captain America Brave New World. Yeah, the latest entry into the MCU. And also, the latest entry into the Bridget Jones franchise. Bridget Jones, mad about the boy. Which one will be better? I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Apparently the 4th Bridget Jones might be good, so...
Really?
Yeah.
I just watched the 2nd one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I actually kind of fell asleep.
Oh.
So I need to go back and watch like 40 minutes of that film.
Okay. So actually, you can't have an opinion because of the last 40 minutes, so...
Yeah, it's annoying actually because I did miss the big chunk, and then I went to like brush my teeth and came back to bed, and there was like the end of the film was happening, and I was like, oh, that's just spoilers.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You cared that much?
Yeah.
He's invested.
Yeah, I love Bridget Jones.
Yeah.
And on that note, guess we're done.
Bye.
Bye.